Welcome to the very first episode of the How Did You Learn to Do That podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we're so excited to have you join us weekly as we release new episodes every Monday. I hope the stories that you hear will help you explore and set you on the journey to finding your purpose in life. Today we'll be talking about what is a purpose in life. And I'll share what my journey was with finding my purpose in life and how I stopped coping with life and how you can too. So let's get started. First off, I would like to start by talking about why did I start this podcast. So as I started to share with my friends and my family that I had this idea, they started asking me why. Why did you choose the name? How did you learn to do that? And I said, well, because there's often times when we see other people doing certain things. Either they're exercising regularly, or they've started meditating, or even reading a lot of books throughout the day, or cooking as a passion and sharing about it, or taking their kids through all these activities, or even when they became successful in their careers as anything that you could think of, from being a chef to being in the corporate world to being in the public world. And often we always think, how did they learn to do that? How do they learn to cook so well? How do they learn to take photos? How do they learn to meditate? How do they learn to get through that difficult time? How did they learn to teach their children those specific topics? How? And often we always wonder, how do people do this? But we never take the opportunity to ask, how did you learn to do that? Often because we may think that it's invasive or that, that people may not want to tell us, as we may not know them, we may be a complete stranger, that they may not want to share with us how they learned, and that it may be a top secret that they may not share, similar to a top secret recipe. But to be honest, when people reach a level of success, or when they've achieved a dream, or they found a purpose and they're living their purpose, they want to share. They want to talk about it. They want to say, this is how I did it and this is how you can do it. Which is often why when you see folks that are very successful, they start doing seminars and speeches and writing books and doing vlogs or blogs. And it's often because they want to share. They want to share how they got to their level of happiness and success and just living a life of purpose and happiness. And they want to share. They want to inspire. They want to tell other folks, this is how I did it and this is how you can do it too. Because as a world, if we're all happier and we're living a life of purpose and joy, it just benefits all of us. It's never something that's beneficial to just you. It's always beneficial to everybody around us. And as we're currently forced into a quarantine and a self-isolation and staying at home due to the coronavirus, this is a perfect opportunity for you to start looking at, what is your purpose in life? What can you do? How can you learn something? And what do you want to learn? And so that's why I decided I really wanted to launch this podcast, because I get asked that question often in things that I like to do. And also when other people that I know, I see that they're doing certain things, I always ask them, how did you learn to do that? And it's always just a concept and an area that people always want to know. They're always curious. We are all very curious individuals. And so now is the time to find out how folks learn that. So this podcast is about sharing stories from average people like us, not celebrities, not very, very popular influencers, or not very, very successful business people. This is about people in our neighborhoods, in our schools, in our workplaces, who are doing something that makes them happy, that has taken their life and has challenged them, has made them open up old wounds and become a better person, a higher version of themselves. So that's what this podcast is about. We are not looking at evidence. We are not looking at data. We are not looking at backing any information up with facts. What we're looking at is personal experience, life experience, because there is something to be said about life experience that cannot be explained by data, by facts, by science. And although I am a public health advocate, and I work in public health, and that's what I have my master's degree in. Sometimes I feel we need to look at the story. We need to look at the story to inspire. And so that's what this podcast is about. We won't be sharing we might share some articles, but we won't be sharing articles to validate any of the information any of our guests are sharing, or to make it feel more important or anything like that. We're looking at just the genuine, the authentic story of a person, and how their story and the way they did things and what worked for them and what served them best has given them this life of purpose and happiness, and how you too can make small daily commitments to change your life for the better and to live a life of happiness. So with that said, we will be releasing episodes every Monday. We will have content on our blog as well to accompany every episode released weekly. We will also have a recording of this podcast, as you may be watching, on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. And we will have our social media accounts on Instagram and Twitter and Pinterest and Facebook as well. So we encourage you to please share, please like, please subscribe, and share with your entire family so we can help to inspire everybody. So let's get into the very first episode. So what is a purpose in life? Honestly, there's the definition that we can look at, but when we look at what is our purpose in life from an authentic self, and just from me, and this is my definition, I think your purpose in life is when you're doing something that naturally comes to you, that brings you so much happiness, so much joy, and that you always seek to do. That's how you know what your purpose in life is. And often, it might be right in front of you, or you might need to do a little bit of digging. There might be barriers. There may be things that are blocking you internally and mentally from reaching your purpose and understanding what it is. And so often when we look at, or when I've looked at, what is my purpose in life? How can I get there? I've just not been able to get there because I've just been learning to cope with life, cope with life. Get up, you get ready, you have breakfast, you go to work, you work for the day, you look forward to lunch, you look forward to your coffee breaks, and at the end of the day, you're counting down until you get to go home, drive all the way home, get home, make dinner, have a couple hours to yourself to watch TV or read a book or just relax, or even try to exercise if you can in your day. And then it's off to bed, and we just repeat that cycle day after day, day after day, looking forward to the weekends. We say things like Mondays are awful, Wednesdays are hump days because we're getting over the hump, and that's that ability to get us up through Monday to Tuesday to the hump, and then going downhill to Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend. It's just a mindset that we have that we're always looking forward to it. But what if you could actually just have a flat ride? What if you could be able to get through all days of the week and not make any changes, not think of it as a hump day, but every day is a good day. Every day is a happy day or a joyful day. It doesn't always have to be happy because it is hard work, sometimes living your purpose. But at least you're living your purpose for and you see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's not a hamster wheel where you're going over and over and over again and you don't know when it's going to stop. Taking that time to be there for yourself is really, really important. I'll talk about my journey in finding my purpose in life. And so, growing up, from as far as I could remember, I was always interested in biographies, autobiographies, documentaries, interviews. I just always, and this is before Instagram and Facebook and all that was there. So that all came into place after I graduated high school. But before that, there just wasn't a platform where you could start understanding, your favorite celebrities or the politicians you see on TV or just people What do they do day to day? How did they do that? What do they actually think about? How are they actually in real life? And what challenges have they experienced? And that was something that was never readily available as it is today. And I would always seek information. I would always ask people, and my family would always make fun of me. My family and my friends, to this day actually, they always call me the 21 question girl, because I always ask so many questions. Because not because I was nosy, not because I just want to know everything, but because I wanted to put the pieces together like a puzzle, and I wanted to figure out how did they do this? How did we get here and there? And, and often, actually, when someone's telling me a story, I want them to start from the beginning, not in the middle, not at the end. I want to know the whole picture, because I want to put the pieces together. And that's just been me. I've always been a curious person. I've always been interested in how people get to where they are and how people find happiness. That's always been something that I've been interested in. And so I have to say that in my journey to finding my purpose, I've journaled, I've written on blogs, I've looked at various websites, I listen to a lot of podcasts now, It's my main source of entertainment, or anything I do when I have some free time, especially when I'm driving. I don't often listen to music, but when I do, I'm drawn to the ones that have lyrics that are like stories. They're telling me something. They're telling us something. Those are always my favorite, with the exception of the Backstreet Boys, because they are just amazing and I will never stop being a fan. But they also tell stories, But I always am drawn to people that have stories. And I say that I always connect with people that have struggled in life. I always connect with those people more. And all of us struggle in different ways, and all of us have different challenges. But I always connect with people that are in tune with their challenges, that want to talk about it. They may not have explored and they may not have healed from everything they've been through, but they're exploring, they're in their own journey of healing. And I always connect with people like that, because I too have to heal from my journey of life, and life has not been great all the time. I have loving parents, and I have an amazing family that I love, although everybody has their own challenges, and it's sometimes very difficult for everybody to get along, and often people need time away to just heal and to get through their own emotions and their own trauma in order to come back and connect with family again or friends. But everyone in my life is so loving, and I love everybody, and everybody's in their own journeys. And oftentimes I've noticed in my journey, and as I've taken a step back to really explore the person as opposed to having the expectations. So one thing I would share is that the biggest change in, up until I had my daughter, I kind of knew my purpose, but I wasn't really sure. I decided from a young age, that I wanted to be a doctor, and I was always interested in the medical world. And so when I, graduated high school, they always ask you, what do you want to be? What do you want to be when you get out of high school, when you grow up? And I'd always say doctor. Well, I want to be a doctor, because that's, the one of the list of professions that people often talk about. I told my family, I told my parents, I told everybody. So everybody knew I wanted to be a doctor, a pediatrician specifically. And I did. I do love the medical field. I still do to this day. But as I got into university, and as I was working through my degree in order to apply for medical school, I started to look around me, and I started to look at people that were going into medical school, and I started to think to myself, as I got to know the system much, much more, and I started to think to myself, do I really want to be a doctor, or do I want to make system changes? And I decided, you know what? No, I want to make a change to the entire system. That's what brings me joy. I want to make communities, neighborhoods, the cities, provinces, the world, countries safer and healthier. And that's what I want to do. I don't want to help one person at a time. I want to help a generation, a whole group of people. And so I decided I'd go into public health, and I thought, that's it. This is my journey. This is my path. This is my passion. This is what I love. And I do love it. I have to say, like, I absolutely love it. And at this time, with the coronavirus and COVID-19 happening and the way public health is being implemented and all in Canada, and I'm in Canada, the rate of growth that we're having, the implementations, the practices, the measures that are being taken, this is all incredible for public health. And if we didn't have an active public health system, we wouldn't really be able to do this. And in BC, we have a wonderful and amazing public health system, and it's just, I couldn't be more proud to be working in public health. And I am returning to work in a couple of weeks and earlier than expected, because I just, of that passion, I just love it. I just want to be there to help. But when I sit at work sometimes, I just think, is this my purpose? And there's that differentiation we have to make. Our purpose and our passion don't have to be the same, and often are not. I have a passion for public health. I just love it. I want to be there. I love to talk about it. I love to share about it. I like to explain it to people. It's a passion. I just love it. But it's not necessarily my purpose in life. And as I graduated university and I got a job, I became a manager at a health authority for the province. And I, had achieved a goal. I wanted to be in management. I wanted to develop a program where we make broad level changes to the whole system. And I was there. I was in that process. I was doing it. But again, I sat down and I said, what is my purpose? I love this work. I do. But it's not fulfilling for me. I still have a void. What is it that I need to do? And then I realized, I need to explore this a little bit. So I had my daughter in November of 2018, and after having her, I really started to be able to explore life in a totally different way. And they always say when you have children, your whole life changes. That is true. Your whole entire life changes. But what I did not expect is that my mind was going to change. And as I saw my daughter grow up month after month, day after day, week after week, I started noticing that anything that she knew, there was things that came innately to her. But if I didn't support her, if my husband and I didn't support her, and our families didn't support her in her development, then she might not learn that, or she may not know that it's there. But her passion is, she already knows what her passion is, her purpose in life is. But often, as children and as we grow up, we know what we want to do in life. We know it. But with society's expectations and things that are out of our control, we start changing what we want to do. And often, when I wanted to go back to my purpose in life, I went back to when I was a child. What brought me joy? What made me happy? And as I learned that, and as I explored that, through reading, through therapy, through listening to podcasts, hearing other people's stories, I started to realize, what the one thing that I've always done in my entire life is I've always shared stories. I've always explored people. I've always asked questions, and I've always shared stories, and I've tried to inspire or to help or to encourage or to motivate people, whether it is to go for a walk or to exercise or get a job. I've always tried to help people look for work, or even just exploring their life, and it wasn't until, I would say, a couple of months ago in late 2019 when I was, with a friend, and she started telling me a lot about her life, and I started thinking, I've had a lot of people in my life feel that they can confide in me and share stories with me, and they've, asked me what I think and what I would do. And I started paying attention to that, and that, and as you start exploring your purpose and you're going through the journey and you're looking for what is it, it's important to start looking at what are people around me saying about me? How are they interacting with me? What are they doing? And how do they see me? And it's okay to ask family and friends, what do you think my purpose in life is? What am I good at? And often when people say things to us, you have to explore it, even if you think it's ludicrous or there's absolutely no way I do that. You have to explore it because you just don't know. It may be society's expectations or barriers or blockages inside of you in your mind that's stopping you from exploring that piece. Just explore it. And Eckhart Tolle actually, I listened to his podcast series with Oprah, and what he said, that really stuck with me, is your ego gets in the way all the time. When you're upset, you have to sit back and you think, is it your ego or is it you? You have to treat your ego as a separate entity outside of you and as a lens. And you have to think, is my ego lens on? Is that why I'm upset? Or is that why I'm not exploring this? If I take that out, would I do it? And often the answer is yes. And so as I started to ask around, and I told one of my oldest friends from my childhood, and she said, if there's anybody that could do this, it would be you. And that meant a lot to me, because it really reaffirmed to me, yeah, I am on my purpose and I'm getting there. And people can share with me, and I can share stories. And that's just what I love. And, and I even went back to my high school yearbook, and I remember that I was voted the most likely to be the next Oprah. And I just thought to myself, the whole school might have thought of that, or however many people, voted. But that is always what I've just wanted to do. I've wanted to interview or explore people. I wanted to learn about you and the way you think. And we're all so unique, so it's so interesting to me. And I just always wanted to explore and understand people and share those stories with you, so that maybe it'll inspire you. Maybe it'll have you understand that you too can make small changes in your day to help alleviate any pressure, any stress, and bring the sense of happiness and joy, or just purpose, and filling that void for you. And so my purpose in life is to explore people like us around our communities and in our families and in our friend circles, and share those stories with you to inspire you that you too can make small commitments day to day and have it change your life, essentially. My purpose in life is to share and to inspire stories with you of people from all walks of life in our communities, just like us, who have made small daily commitments that has inspired them to change their lives and has gotten them closer to their purpose in life and their happiness, essentially. And so, as I've explained in my journey into finding my purpose, I will just say that I had to just listen to my intuition and I had to really, really pay attention and be very, very mindful to what was around me, what were people saying around me, what was I doing, how did I feel when I did certain things, how did I feel when I would talk to people about anything, and doing a lot of inner work is how you will help. That is what will help you find your purpose in life. Listen to yourself. There's things that you are doing right now. There's things that people see in you. There's things that bring you a lot more happiness than something else. Pay attention to yourself. It's a journey. It takes a long time. I've been doing this since I can't even remember when I started looking at what brings me happiness in life and what joy. And it's just so important to always be intuitive, to always look at yourself, to always think, why did that make me feel this way? Whether it was a happy feeling or an angry feeling or a sad feeling, what happened? Why do you feel that way? And is it you that feels that way, or is it your ego, or is it a certain expectation that somebody has for you and you want to live up to that, or anything? You just have to explore it. And so I will share a quote from Warren Buffett that I always go back to whenever I'm feeling confused, or if I'm not sure if I want to buy that book or invest in that course or go for that walk or join that gym or anything like that. And what he said, and I'm sorry, I'm going to have to read it off my paper, is there's one investment that supersedes all others. Invest in yourself. Nobody can take away what you've got in yourself. And everybody has a potential that they haven't used yet. So just let that sink in. There's one investment that supersedes all others. Invest in yourself. We all have something that we haven't tapped into yet. And it's important that we invest in ourselves. And with that, We're at the end of our very first episode for the How Did You Learn to Do That podcast. Thank you so much for listening to the end of this, until the end of this episode. I would like to please ask you to subscribe to our podcast, to our YouTube channel, and like us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. And please share, get the word out that we're here and that we're sharing these stories. Please share with your family, your friends, and help us inspire the world. And if you have any topics that you would like us to explore or like me to explore, please feel free to send me a note on my website, howdidyoulearntodothat.com, and I would love to explore those. And if there's anybody that you know that's doing something that you're curious about, send me their information and tell me what they're doing, and I will try to connect with them so that we can build a community around us of people that are doing things that we are curious about how they're doing it and how we can also explore. And with that, I'd like to thank you so much. And I'd like to end off with saying that investing in yourself has the ability to not only catalyze your life from ordinary to extraordinary, but it has the ability to make the biggest change in your life. And it'll serve you for the rest of your life and just make you happy and make the people around you happy. And with that, I thank you, and I can't wait to see you next week. Thank you. Bye.